Introduction. The title CEO, on the whole, applies to the top individual in charge of the everyday operations of a business. On the off chance that organization has a governing body, the CEO reports to them, utilizing her earnest attempts to meet the objectives of the board. The board may set the long-haul bearing of the organization, yet gives the CEO a chance to make logic of how to get there. At little associations, this individual may be known as a president, particularly in the event that it's a hands-on proprietor. At charitable associations, the title official chief regularly runs with this position. Today, the way to turning into a CEO can look altogether different, especially inside of tech and web new businesses. Be that as it may, the aptitudes required to be a viable pioneer are the same as ever. These abilities normally take an existence of experience to get, yet there are approaches to beat that time challenge. The way to accomplishment for another pioneer today relies on his or her capacity to lead change. Genuine accomplishment in the quick-paced worldwide economy requires that individuals of the association meet change with liveliness and tackle vital activities with direness so that they happen to be speedier and more successful. This was just a brief introduction to what contains the book. Turn the page and read the first chapter and so on to find it out yourself. Chapter 1. Introduction to CEO Career. Who is a CEO? A Chief Executive Officer, CEO, is the most noteworthy positioning official in an organization whose standard commitments incorporate generating and actualizing abnormal state systems, settling on major corporate choices, dealing with the general operations and assets of an organization, and going about as the primary purpose of correspondence between the governing body and the corporate operations. The CEO will regularly have a position on the board. Education. There are no laws stipulating that CEOs more likely than not went to school or that they should have a graduate degree. Nonetheless, not many individuals make it to the highest point of the company pecking order nowadays without some kind of formal education. Why is having a formal education so vital? There is no straightforward response to that question. Be that as it may, finishing college courses provides one with a presentation to various trains and causes a man to think, associate and impart thoughts to others, which are profitable encounters for a CEO to have. A degree from an Ivy League school or another top-level establishment is frequently given considerably more assurance in light of the aggressiveness that frequently goes with such projects. Some well-known CEOs with degrees from top-level schools incorporate the accompanying. Meg Whitman, previous CEO of eBay, college degree from Princeton, Master of Business Administration, MBA from Harvard. John Bogle, previous CEO of the Vanguard Group, college degree from Princeton. Roberto Goizetta, previous CEO of Coca-Cola, college degree from Yale. Numerous CEOs have some type of business degree. Note, in any case, that the degree could be in financial matters, administration, money or other business-related control. Some understood CEOs, in any case, dropped out or never headed off to college. Richard Branson, author and CEO of Virgin Group. Michael Dell, author and CEO of Dell Computer. Charles Gates, prime supporter and previous CEO and chairman of Microsoft Corporation. Characteristics. Having a degree from a first-rate school and an extraordinary learning of the business in which the organization works are incredible qualities to have. Be that as it may, those qualities all by themselves don't promise that a man will make it to the highest point of the company pecking order. Unique qualities might likewise assume a part in an individual's capacity to achieve CEO status. Ordinarily, CEOs are great communicators, bargain producers and supervisors. Social butterflies who excitedly go out and about in order to recount their organization's story. capable and willing to display a strong vision and methodology to workers, ready to accumulate regard. Jack Welch, previous administrator and CEO of General Electric, is an extraordinary illustration of an outgoing individual who is capable of accumulating admiration and who had a dream even as a low-level specialist at General Electric. While there, a higher-up paid heed to his capacities, and the rest is history. Experience. As a rule, a man must have a lot of involvement in the organization's field so as to end up CEO. A CEO's occupation is to give vision and a course to the organization to explore, which is hard to manage without broad experience and working information of the potential dangers and opportunities that lie ahead for the organization. Former senior-level administrative experience is likewise, for the most part, an absolute necessity. All things considered, by what method can an individual be relied upon to run a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar organization with hundreds or a large number of representatives unless he or she has past experience overseeing and/or regulating different workers? An awesome case of somebody who worked his way up the position is, once more, Jack Welch. Welch joined General Electric in 1960 as a specialist and worked his way up to VP and bad habit administrator before getting to be CEO in 1981. When he arrived, he knew the organization and the scene well. He had additionally beforehand held an abnormal state position. Another case of a CEO with a lot of involvement in his field is Eric Schmidt, previous CEO of Novel and official director of Alphabet Incorporated, once in the past known as Google. Schmidt worked in the examination at Bell Labs right off the bat in his vocation. What's more, he served as Boss Innovation Officer at Sun Microsystems. These encounters offered him some assistance with landing his CEO positions and turn into the example of overcoming adversity he is today. At that point, there's Andrea Jung, previous CEO and chairwoman of Avon Products, and the main lady to hold that title in the organization's history. Jung has a sizable measure of involvement in retail. In the wake of moving on from Princeton, she worked for Bloomingdale's, where she was a piece of the administration student program. From that point, she additionally worked at Neiman Marcus, another top-of-the-line outfit, where she served as official VP. When she at long last came to Avon, she began as a specialist and after that climbed to head working officer, COO, before at last finding the CEO position. Anne Mulcahy, the previous CEO of Xerox, is another extraordinary of a sample of somebody with a lot of involvement in her field. In the mid-1970s, she began as a business agent. She later filled in as a VP in HR before moving to senior VP. On the whole, it was around 25 years before she turned into a CEO. At that point, she knew the business to a great degree well. These were same great examples of famous CEOs from around the world. Let's move on to find out how to become a CEO. Chapter 2. How to be a CEO. Turning into a CEO doesn't occur incidentally. CEOs work their way through the positions and ascend to the top because of a blend of diligent work, steadiness, and attributes and qualities that make them a first-rate business pioneer. Read carefully the progression below to find out on the way to turning into a CEO and the strides CEOs take to stay successful. Get educated. On the off chance that you need to be a CEO, you have to perform well in school. In a perfect world, you have to finish both an undergrad and a graduate degree. Center your studies in a range that will be significant to the business you would like to enter, yet keep things sufficiently general that you can be adaptable in the event that you don't tangle your fantasy work right out of school. Numerous CEOs finish a college degree to start with, labor for quite a long while as a worker, work their way up through the positions, and afterward come back to an MBA system to procure a graduate degree. You don't have to put off joining the workforce since you don't have all the instruction you need yet. The bigger that organization you're planning to one day be a part of, the highest point of, the more vital it is that you go to and move on from a school that has some cachet connected to its name. Clearly, some CEOs never at any point graduated school, yet by the numbers, your most obvious opportunity is to have a prestigious name on your degree. Consider Ivy League schools, obviously. However, bear in mind little human sciences university with regarded business programs either. Spend extra time learning finances. Nothing offers a CEO some assistance with making smart choices for the organization, very like a solid base of money-related information. While you can examine and find out about the account and financial aspects at any phase of your life, your school years are most likely the best open door you'll ever get. On the likelihood that you aren't majoring in bookkeeping, financial matters or fund, take a lot of elective courses in those regions, much consider a minor. Once you're a part of the workforce, exploit each and every open door your organization offers to build your money-related learning with courses, extraordinary classes, and different occasions. An awesome CEO never quits expanding, invigorating, or sharpening his or her insight. Make connections early. In the course of school, go to business classes and systems administrations occasions at whatever point you can. Apply to temporary jobs any place that you can flaunt your authority, aptitudes and readiness to buckle down. Continue applying until you catch one or more. Volunteer your opportunity to help with high-minded and different occasions that will permit you to rub shoulders with other future agents. To put it plainly, go about as if you're as of now climbing the company pecking order before you even begin. Try not to hesitate. It's never too soon to begin making the right impact on nearby business and urban pioneers. You never know who may see you and smooth the route to your first genuine vocation work with a decent reference or a kind word about you when the time comes. Shoot for the stars. When you land a position in view of your school capabilities, regardless of the fact that you're still in school at the time, treat it like you need to claim the entire organization. Representatives who bring a feeling of essentialness and reality to their occupations are few and far between. Be an organization sponsor and a cooperative person, and rest guaranteed you will be noted. Acknowledge additional undertakings with enthusiasm and search them out yourself at whatever point conceivable. Do all that you can to demonstrate your managers that you're not kidding about propelling your expert life. Do your most extreme to contact and on agreeable terms with abnormal state administrators in your business and wherever else you meet them throughout your vocation. Watch the way they act and talk. You may even approach one to end up a tutor for you. The most exceedingly terrible that they can say is no, and administrators have a tendency to acknowledge brashness over legitimacy in any case. An official mentorship, in the event that you can get it, is an intense apparatus for optimizing your profession. Stay flexible. It's not discussed again and again nowadays, but the rather basic desire is an extremely helpful, some may even say basic, quality for a business pioneer to have. A part of being goal-oriented and forceful about propelling your profession is being interested in taking ways you weren't hoping to take. In any event, stay open to the likelihood of exchanging movements or areas so as to secure headway. In the event that you seize the opportunity to be an administrator in a branch office some place far away, you'll presumably get the advancement over other people who have reservations about it. Once you've been with an organization for a year or two, on the off chance that you feel you're being disregarded for headway, check work postings consistently and apply to any position that appears like a genuine stride-up. A considerable measure of CEOs began their professions as administrators and junior VPs for a few related organizations before turning into the leader of their own organization. Try not to be reluctant to get entrepreneurial. Chiefs and business people offer numerous qualities, and a man wanting to wind up one can get an extraordinary start on by turning into the other. In the event that you see a chance to start a new business for yourself, and it appears like a superior way to the official level, then you present one. Don't tail off to roll out the improvement. Developing an effective organization from the beginning is an amazing refinement on any corporate resume. Join a board. On the off chance, you might get chosen to wind up an individual from the top managerial staff at a respectable organization. This gives you the important experience you can use to connect with the board at your own particular organization once you turn into a CEO. It's additionally a great credit to you, as about a portion of all CEOs in the United States served as board individuals sooner or later pass to getting to be CEOs. Chapter 3. Becoming a great CEO. You are not the only one who opts for this career. When you will step out in the practical world, you will come to know that you have got a lot of competition and that you have got to stand out in the crowd in order to be chosen by the firm in the first place. But what is it that would help you become a great CEO? This chapter answers this question in a sufficient detail. Read and find it out yourself. Comprehend what a CEO does. The CEO of an organization isn't inexorably the originator or even the proprietor. A CEO isn't exactly the same thing as a business person. A CEO isn't an unimportant clerk or office monkey, however, either. Maybe the CEO's employment is to run the organization, regulate budgetary choices, resolve irregular characteristics, and keep things on track for more benefit every last year. This implies an awesome CEO is a blend of thoughts, like a business visionary, willing to go for broke and prepare to stun the world, and a hands-on individual hawk-peered toward in matters of cash and HR, continually willing to delve into the subtle elements until everything is great. Depend on experience. Most CEOs accomplish their position after numerous years, now and again decades, in the same business or even at the same organization. When you achieve the top, bear in mind your roots. Utilize all that you think about your business or region of business to run it as productively as would be prudent. Contrasts between composed strategy and pragmatic standard procedures, associations who can give you knowledge into spots you're no more firmly associated with, mentalities and convictions among low-level representatives about the business. Lead with vision. To be a really incredible CEO, you should exercise control over your organization by molding the work environment to be one that has an unmistakable and tangible society. As it were, an awesome pioneer makes a sense among his or her representatives that they are a piece of something really uncommon, something greater and huger than any one part of the entirety. Your state of mind and activities towards your workforce plainly set the rhythm at each level of the organization. Request the universe of your specialists. However, permit them to commit errors. Demonstrate to them that the organization has confidence in them enough to give them a chance to continue attempting until they make it. Energize profitability by empowering hazard and taking individual informed decisions. You generally have the last word if something is a poor fit for the business. Be obvious. As a CEO, you must maintain the whole business, in spite of the fact that you designate a number of the everyday assignments to your subordinates. You're the one with a bird's eye view who can see the entire example of the organization as it inhales and changes after some time. Remembering that, utilize what you see and know not your plans, and disclosure your choices to your laborers unmistakably, evidently and transparently. On the off chance that they recognize what your vision for the organization is, they'll have a much simpler time helping you to understand that vision. Stay associated. Never succumb to the deception that the CEO lives and works in an ivory tower while whatever remains of the business goes ahead beneath, guided by far-off decrees from a lofty position. A viable CEO is dependably in the thick of things, going to each division, helping with any undertaking they are qualified to help with, addressing workers and listening to their input. A piece of your time is essentially spent at the top, arranging ahead and thinking in wide terms, yet whatever remains of your time should be spent in the thick of the activity. Don't hesitate to micromanage on the off chance that you have to show somebody the way you'd incline toward them to accomplish something. Don't just criticize them or let them know what you're doing incorrectly. Rather, get them out of the driver's seat and do it without anyone else's help, clarifying the thinking of each stride and activity along the way. An awesome CEO shows others how it's done, and not a front. Epitomize procedure. Most importantly, once you turn into a CEO, your business is the fate of the organization. You should be proficient at intuiting 6 advances, seeing around the following corner, and think about what the future will hold. Stay side by side of patterns and dependably consider your organization's place in the business world on the loose. In what capacity would you be able to stay lord of the slope? In case you're not, by what method would you be able to thump the other schmooze out of the top spot? In the event that these are the issues that guide your business procedure, you'll be the best CEO you can be. Chapter 4. 5 Core Responsibilities of a CEO. This is something everybody at an organization, from a passage-level representative to the CEO, must know. All things considered, understanding what is required of a CEO helps him or her set the stage for the achievement of the undertaking. It likewise offers workers some assistance with bettering comprehend what the CEO is attempting to perform, how they can be in backing, and what they have to seek to finish. Chiefs have 5 key obligations, regardless of the organization's size, industry, or geology. Just the CEO, who has an all-encompassing perspective of the firm, can tackle these obligations. First, own the vision. A CEO should decide and convey the association's vital heading. Until that is settled, settling on choices about whatever else at the business is troublesome. Also, without this, the organization is only an accumulation of individuals seeking after individual objectives guided by their own qualities. While other individuals might shape the vital vision, the CEO must have the capacity to portray it in a reasonable, connecting with and energizing path for all partners. Every one of the players in the association has to see how this heading influences their occupation and day-by-day obligations. An excess of CEOs has permitted the key vision to be just trademarks on a bit of paper instead of direction advising every single key choice. Second, give the best possible assets. Just the CEO can perform the errand of adjusting assets, the 2 most vital ones being capital and individuals. The CEO must make both accessible in the best possible amounts and at the suitable time for the organization to succeed. All officials have experience managing spending plans and designating assets, yet the CEO's employment includes keeping a legitimate parity of assets for all the divergent gatherings and activities as per the organization's objectives. Expertise in settling on such choices requires a profound comprehension of all parts of the business and also a reasonable vision. Putting the right individuals in the right positions with the right preparing is likely the absolute most imperative thing a CEO can do. With the right group, everything is conceivable. With the wrong group, nothing else matters. Third, manufacture the way of life. Society is the arrangement of shared states of mind, objectives, practices and values that describe a gathering. It means how things complete at an organization and impacts the aggregate of the worker's experience and, along these lines, the client's experience. Each sorted-out gathering of people adds to a society, whether it's unequivocally perceived or not, and the CEO should always watch and be included to accomplish the fancied society. The most basic piece of society is qualities. The CEO guarantees that those qualities are connected reliably through overall divisions. A decent culture makes individuals feel protected and regarded, empowering them to perform getting it done. Fourth, use sound judgment. Another CEO is frequently astonished by the expansiveness of issues going up against him or her. One moment the CEO is talking about another item, the following an HR issue, and after that along comes to a legitimate issue. It's unthinkable for anybody to be a specialist in all parts of the business, yet the CEO is the individual tasked with settling on the choices. Numerous issues require an answer that will wind up influencing different offices, and just the CEO is engaged to make such a move. Other people can sit back to time. However, the CEO will make the last call when nobody else will or can. Fifth, regulate and convey the organization's execution. Everybody concurs that the CEO is, at last, in charge of an organization's execution. To be fruitful, he or she should play a dynamic part in driving that execution. This requires keeping up a sharp attention to the company's business and advertise and being in contact with the centre business capacities to guarantee the best possible execution of errands. The CEO additionally serves as the interface between interior operations and outside partners. He or she needs to find out how diverse partners anticipate that the organization will perform, translate this for inside groups, and after that, make sure the best possible measurements precisely gauge execution. You get what you measure is an able maxim. The CEO sets the bar for the level of execution to be achieved, paying little heed to the organization's size, sort, circumstances or partners. Some CEOs may discover the substance to kick back and let the occupation land at their doorstep. All things considered, there are constantly strategic things that should be finished. Yet productive CEOs arrange for how they invest their energy, as indicated by the above obligations, and not only tend to press to-dos. To effectively grow an organization, the CEO should have a reasonable picture of how to satisfy these capacities that just he or she can do, organize them and discover equalization when managing the assault of issues. Chapter 5. Other responsibilities of a CEO. The Chief Executive Officer, CEO, is the most astounding positioning official administrator in an enterprise or association. The CEO has obligation regarding the general achievement of a whole association. The CEO has a definitive power to settle on conclusive choices for an association. The CEO has particular obligations relying upon the necessities of his or her association. The set of working responsibilities of a CEO fluctuates by association. The CEO has a responsibility regarding making, arranging, executing and incorporating the key course of an association. This includes compulsions regarding all segments and bureaus of a business. The CEO verifies that the association's administration keeps up consistent attention to both the outer and inner focused scene, open doors for an extension, clients, markets, new industry advancements and models, etc. The CEO reports to the board of directors, or in some not-for-profit settings, for example, state government. The CEO might be the leader of an organization or division and report to the workplace of the representative. The CEO serves at the caution of the board of directors. The CEO might likewise claim the business and might have established the business, so his or her dedication to the business is huge. He might likewise possess a noteworthy segment of the organization or its stock. In these cases, a board of directors might exist, yet its power is apparent and counseling. Whether the top individual is president and CEO or just CEO, he or she is the top individual in charge in an association and has particular responsibilities relying upon the necessities of his or her association. Accordingly, the CEO's occupation obligations can shift from association to association. Likewise, with any level of administration in an association, the CEO's part begins with the basic employment duty of a supervisor. Since the part of the CEO bears huge commitment, responsibility and power inside of an association, the CEO has these extra obligations as he or she drives the business. Responsibilities of a CEO. The obligations of a CEO include making, imparting and actualizing the association's vision, mission and general heading, driving the advancement and execution of the general association's procedure, driving, managing, coordinating and assessing the work of other official pioneers, including presidents, VPs and executives, contingent upon the association's reporting structure, requesting exhortation and direction, when proper, from a board of directors, detailing and actualizing the vital arrangement that aids the bearing of the business or association, regulating the complete operation of an association as per the bearing set up in the key arrangements, assessing the accomplishment of the association, keeping up familiarity with both the outside and inward aggressive scene, open doors for an extension, clients, markets, new industry advancements and norms, etc. Speaking for the Association for City and expert affiliation obligations and exercises in the neighbourhood group, the state, and at the national level. Other official pioneers bear obligation regarding these ventures as intrigued or doled out too. Showing the authority how important it is to make the association's main goal a win. The initiative incorporates giving authority vision, an administration that pools in devotees, and every single other part of the prolific initiative. The association's CEO is a key player in whether and how well an association will succeed. In the event that they complete these occupation obligations viably, it will amplify the likelihood that their association will encounter achievement. Chapter 6. Benefits of becoming a CEO. Being the top individual at a business accompanies numerous advantages, additionally substantial obligation. While you won't need to manage irritating supervisors or stress over being denied a raise you merit, everyone's eyes will be on you if things don't go right. In case you're occupied with moving to the top, understanding what's in store when you arrive will offer you some assistance with deciding whether the favourable circumstances exceed the drawbacks. Autonomy. One of the principal contrasts between a CEO and every single other position at a business is the absence of control practiced by this individual. While a CEO may reply to shareholders or a top managerial staff, she'll never be micromanaged. As a CEO, you can utilize your abilities, experience, and imagine setting the key vision, attempt new thoughts, actualize new procedures and systems, and take the organization in headings you accept will offer it some assistance with prospering. You won't have to stick around for a panel to talk about, pick at and reshape your thoughts, cuffing you while anticipating that you should succeed utilizing their arrangements. Not yours. Satisfaction. At the point when an organization succeeds, the CEO can assume a great part of the acknowledgement for the organization's prosperity. This is halfway in light of the fact that she should administer each part of the organization instead of simply being in charge of one office. While each representative must contribute and perform at an abnormal state for the organization to make progress, they do as such to accomplish the CEO's main goal and vision. A couple of corporate official occupations offers the individual fulfillment and satisfaction that a CEO position offers. High compensation. CEOs have a portion of the most astounding compensations, best livings and retirement ranges in the corporate world. Furthermore, investment opportunities and brilliant parachutes for CEOs regularly predominate their remuneration. Indeed, even at little business, the CEO, for the most part, has the best pay, advantages and livings of any representatives. When you make it into CEO benefits, pay in all probability won't be your principal rousing component, yet even a short spell at a substantial organization can give you enough salary to resign serenely. Ego gratification. A CEO occupation is a prominent position, obliging you to be the general population face of the organization. In the event that you think you'd like being met on TV and in magazines, talking at national traditions, being welcome to sit on the sheets of not-for-profits, and serving maybe a couple-year term as the president of an industry exchange affiliation, a CEO position will give you the chance to get your companions and the general population. These were several pros of being a CEO. Having a quick look at the cons of becoming a CEO won't do any harm, right? So, shall we? You'll work harder than you have ever worked in your life. It's actually not all CEOs are chipping away at overdrive, but rather when you're attempting to get an organization off the ground, there are constantly more mission-basic things you have to do that require a bigger number of hours than there are in the genuine day. Anticipate the essential red-eye flight you have to take to make it all work out. The time wait will appear to be more regrettable than your school finals did, and get ready for this pace to continue for a considerable length of time. Keeping physically fit with activity will turn into a necessity just to survive the debilitating workload. You'll be lonelier than you've ever been for a major part of your life. That cliché, the buck stops with you, is totally genuine when you are CEO. There is nobody to swing to on the off chance that you need to make a hard choice. Your board arrives to give you exhortation, yet they are not going to let you know what to do. Your group arrives to furnish guidance and civil argument with you, however, at last, they'll took for you to make the troublesome choices. What's more, there's nobody you can converse with. It's unjustifiable to trouble your loved ones with these business-related hassles. You're the person who needs to release individuals. It's difficult to reliably contract incredible ability, which implies in some cases you'll commit errors. You'll contract a VP of sales who looks and sounds great, however can't work out a group themselves. There might likewise be a period when you might truly like a worker, yet who battles to reliably perform. When you are the CEO, there is no ducking the obligation of terminating the general population who need to go, and endeavouring to do it with deference and consideration is a work of art. It's your organisation. All things considered, is that an ace or a con? You'll see it relies upon the day. A few days you're so pleased with the arrangements your group gives that you could blast. In any case, this won't be each day, unquestionably not each day. Chapter 7. Career requirements. CEOs work close by other top officials to build up an enterprise's approaches and vision. Presidents are viewed as the leader of an organization and are in charge of giving course to the organization and verifying that objectives are met. Presidents can work at a wide assortment of organizations, from little new companies to partnerships with a huge number of representatives. This can prompt a considerable measure of anxiety, especially since numerous CEOs must put in extra minutes all the time. Travel might likewise be required for the occupation. Step 1. Earn a bachelor's degree. As indicated by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, the base training for most CEO positions is a 4-year certification. Majors for yearning CEOs may incorporate aesthetic sciences, business organization, or open organization. In the event that a forthcoming CEO arrangements to enter a particular industry, for example, human services organization, Former coursework or a 4-year certification in that field can be valuable. Step 2. Complete a master's degree program. Numerous trying CEOs seek after a Master of Business Administration, MBA, or a comparative graduate degree. These projects can be sought after before looking for some kind of employment inside of an industry or in the wake of having been utilized for quite a while. The individuals who are at present working in a corporate or administrative position can enlist in low maintenance expert or official MBA program that incorporates useful work learning into the educational modules. MBA understudies may take classes in vital administration, fund, hierarchical speculations, and administrative financial matters. Achievement tips. Complete a temporary job. Graduate projects frequently incorporate entry-level position opportunities that can permit future CEOs to obtain work experience while still selected in school. Understudies may likewise seek after concentrate abroad alternatives that permit them to study universal business and create functional abilities. Pick a fixation. Most MBA projects require their understudies to choose a fixation to center their studies on. These people can exploit this open door by selecting an accentuation that identifies with the business they wish to progress in. Numerous projects permit understudies to have practical experience in fields like showcasing, account, data innovation, natural maintainability, open approach, and well-being organization. Step 3. Gain experience. It is uncommon to enter straight into a vocation as a CEO. Rather, most yearning CEOs begin at a lower-level administration position inside of an organization and work their way up until a CEO opening is accessible. Numerous additionally watch out for openings inside different associations, so there is the possibility to change organizations while as yet progressing. Achievement tip. Get included. Organizations might offer corporate preparing or advancement programs, which can help potential CEOs. Take in the subtle strategies and show them how to be an abnormal state director. It's likewise critical to show devotion in the field. The BLS reported that the individuals who wish to ascend into official positions should regularly work extended periods of time that incorporate evenings, weekends, and occasions. Step 4. Consider voluntary certification. Deliberate confirmation is another route for CEOs to show learning and capability and development their professions. The Institute of Certified Professional Managers offers the assignment of Certified Manager, which requires a base measure of instruction, experience, and preparing, and in addition, a passing exam score. Qualification to sit for the exam is controlled by an arrangement of focuses in light of the years of instruction and experience that an applicant has amassed. Winding up the book with this chapter and moving to the conclusion to get a quick review regarding CEO career. Conclusion. Although a few people are conceived pioneers, most are made. Turning into a CEO regularly takes years of diligent work. Broad involvement in the organization's field is attractive, and a few organizations have a tendency to incline toward those with degrees from upper-level schools. At last, those that have worked their way up from a low level inside of the association might have a scope, as they presumably know the organization superior to any outsider ever could. Along these lines, on the off chance that you need to be the CEO of your organization, then prepare yourself. It's an awesome affair, and can be an exciting ride. However, it's a thrill ride with many high points and low points. In the event that you get only them, even the best CEOs will let you know that.